Hey, what's up, everyone? Hope you're having a blessed Sunday. I wanted to break down the difference between a reserve currency and a settlement currency and why I think the XRP is slated to be the reserve currency that is also used as a neutral bridge currency or a settlement currency in this new financial system. So, historically, we know that the dollar was backed by gold at one point. In 1971, Nixon took us off the gold standard. Henry Kissinger went to the Middle East, signed deals with the largest oil players in the world to basically back the dollar, made it the petrodollar essentially. And the largest military known to man is still what protects it today and backs it up. But other than that, we simply trust in the government. And it was funny, I was just doing our Sunday live session that I just ran up, and I played a clip from Alan Greenspan, and they asked him directly if people should be worried about the bonds after they just had their worst year ever in history last year, and whether or not they're still a safe play. And of course, he says, yes, of course, there's still a safe play because although we have unsustainable debt, we can just print more money, right? So, no need to worry, America. We can always just print more money. And the delusion that the United States is going to be able to just maintain its reserve currency based off of a trust me, bro, from the Fed. And to give them credit, we do have that military, unfortunately, enforcing our will upon the rest of the world, which the rest of the world is done with our BS. And that's why we have the BRICS summit coming up this month, August 22nd to the 24th, where they're going to be talking about new reserve currencies. And so what spawned the idea for this video and this breakdown was I was just playing a clip from Jim Rickards, and he was explaining the difference between a bridge currency and a settlement currency. So BRICS, all of the countries within that group, Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, and dozens more, unilaterally are moving away from the dollar. They're trying to reset their currencies. They've had to restructure their debt. Some have gone through hyperinflation, but they have a sense of urgency about them, moving away from the dollar and then backing their currencies by something. And Jim Rickards has explained that they can anchor their currencies to gold or other commodities in a way where it's not backed one to one necessarily, where one BRIC currency is going to equal 1 ounce of gold, or one Chinese yuan is going to equal 1 ounce of gold, but they anchor it to a specified weight. Okay, it doesn't have to be a one-to-one backing per se. So we said that, and that's how you establish a new reserve currency. And so China is obviously pushing their currency very heavily. Russia has their currency, and he was using the example of if Russia pays China in their currency, China has those rubles, which are essentially no good to them only if they're spending or trading back with Russia. So it makes for it makes for not a good settlement currency. Okay, that's not a good way to do trade. Now, the reason why the dollar worked is because everybody wanted dollars, everybody accepted dollars, and a lot of commodities around the world were based in dollars. And then the other thing that made it such a strong reserve currency was the strength of our bond market and the equities market. So you have stocks, equities that are denominated in dollars, and then you have a bond market that's denominated in dollars as well. But like I said, this is going bust. 75% of the treasury bills, notes, and bonds, 75% of them need to be renewed or between now and 2025, 75%. And this is why banks have over 600 billion of unrealized losses on their balance sheets, is because they purchased these bonds when rates were much lower than where they're at now. So this is why they have negative 600 billion on their balance sheet, right? But I digress. Back to the point. These new countries that are on the world stage are trying to make a new reserve currency. They don't have strong bond markets. There's actually big equity calls, big liquidity crisis taking place in China right now as we speak. And so these markets are struggling to build a reserve currency that other countries can trust. Now, Jim Rickards was talking about how you can easily come in with a DLT solution, distributed ledger technology. For those of you that don't know what I'm talking about, you could use an XRP, for example, to settle between the currencies, right? Or you could use a stablecoin like Tether. You name it. There's many different settlement currencies that you could use to get these countries to be able to trade with one another, but you still have the reserve currency aspect of it too. And unless these currencies can have a significant bond market and equity market that is denominated within that reserve currency, you're not going to have a world reserve currency that is widely adopted, right? So you have two problems here. You need a new reserve currency and you need a settlement currency. Well, you already know where I'm going with this, right? XRP is, slated to be a world reserve digital currency. That was the goal that Ripple stated in 2017. We have a simple goal of making XRP a world reserve digital currency. Now, it just so happens to be one of the best settlement currencies, distributed ledger technologies for settling anything of value in the world. Now, we're waiting for an update to the smart contracts, the Hooks Amendment. We're waiting for automated market makers. We're waiting for a few things to get put in place, but then you will be able to tokenize anything of value and put it onto this ledger, i.e. bonds, stocks, or equities, real estate, and everything else. Now, Ripple's already working with the Hong Kong Monetary Authority on tokenizing real estate over there. So this is well underway, okay? And the point that I've been making this whole time is that nobody in the space, in crypto at all, has set out to make their currency a reserve currency. Ripple did, right? Now, they also have built some of the best liquidity in the world. The technology, it's kind of already baked in the cake. But then as they fire up all these new corridors and really connect these dots, right? They connect these flows of liquidity. We've only seen 30 billion in settlement on RippleNet since 2019 and its inception. So it's just getting started. That's a drop in the bucket compared to the massive flows of liquidity that move across this planet daily. But then you go to the bond market, then you move to the stock and equity market. Then you look at derivatives, as we've been talking about in the XRP community here recently, Ripple joining the ISDA Derivatives Association. And so they've been moving and they've been focused on that goal of making it a reserve currency, but then also making sure that we can tokenize an internet of value on this ledger, and then we can settle it instantaneously at almost no cost. So I just asked a simple question, how's your program working out? You guys know how I asked that. We've had the worst year on record for bonds, and we're seeing the rest of the world drop our bonds at the fastest pace in decades. And then they're also, so that's no longer holding it on your balance sheet. But then the other thing is that they're moving to settle outside of the US dollar. As we just covered this weekend, the United States pathetically begging Saudi Arabia to continue trading the US dollars in our currency, not in the Chinese currency or not in an alternative, right? But you're seeing our allies like France turn away from the dollar. You're seeing our allies like Saudi Arabia turn away from the dollar for settlement. But then our enemies who have traditionally held our bonds, they're dumping them at the fastest pace. What's interesting is you look at Japan and the situation over there. They have such a bad debt problem and they hold a lot of US treasuries that they're going to be forced to sell as well. So some of our allies, they don't even want to necessarily offload our bonds, but they're going to be forced to because they have such a bad fiscal debt crisis within their own countries, and they've had to pay off these debts by inflating their currency, which is where the currency crisis comes in as well. So, I've long been saying is I just look at this currency, I'm like, man, you have gold, you have silver. These are neutral reserve currencies. These are neutral bridge currencies, but they don't work too well as a bridge currency when you physically have to, drive or fly or ship the gold to that other country for something as simple as cross-border payments. The way that you liquefy these commodities and these traditional reserve currencies like precious metals is you move them to DLT. You represent them on DLT through tokens, through derivatives, through bonds and equities. And so this is what's happening. This is what's underway. And I just can't find another program that is ready to do so, that is ready to do both. One, be a reserve currency and also be a neutral bridge settlement currency as well. Now, I just did a supply shock for XRP Sunday session, and you guys should go check that out if you haven't already. I'll put the link to that. Will be pinned up here at the end of this video when we wrap it up. And make sure you subscribe, hit the notification bell, and make sure to smash that thumbs up for me, by the way. Get that out of the way. But I was talking about the dynamics here with the XRP supply and how when you look at Ripple, they stopped selling it to exchanges back in 2019. They only have been selling it to their on-demand liquidity partners. These are banks, institutions, and payment providers that have been using XRP for treasury flows, for cross-border payments, ODL, and other utilities as well. But now we start to see institutions add XRP to their balance sheets as a reserve currency. So that they're going to be using it for ODL, all these utilities, potentially putting bonds, tokenizing real estate, putting equities and stocks on XRP as well as putting it on their balance sheet just to hold it. They have a serious balance sheet problem. 600 billion is the net losses that the banks just within the United States hold, okay? The central banks are struggling, so what are they doing? They're buying gold at the fastest pace that they have in 50 years, and the one company that they're meeting with the most is Ripple, by far, not even close. And then the most amount of CBDCs that have been built or are working with anybody in the crypto space is Ripple and with the private version of the XRP ledger, right? Now, you look at Hong Kong Monetary Authority looking at tokenized real estate. There's been many looks and plays here in the United States as well. As we get the updated smart contracts, as we get automated market makers, you're going to see a whole lot more utility ramp up for XRP. And I believe that you're going to see bonds and equities put on XRP as well. You know, a while ago, I think it was last year, that I put out my Stellar Deep Dive. It's the most viewed Stellar Deep Dive on XLM on YouTube. And I broke down how there's much speculation that a lot of the stock market, a lot of the equities are going to move to XLM. Now, at the time when I made this video, I explained how you're going to see equities, bonds, moving to XLM, the Stellar Network, and to XRP as well. It's not going to be, one market moves to just one blockchain. These blockchains have the capabilities to handle chunks of each one of these markets: bonds, equities, derivatives, payment flows like Swift's volume, ACI Worldwide's volume. So you have a lot of flows of liquidity, but then you have a lot of markets where value is parked and traded as well. So as I set out to break down in this episode here for you guys, you have the difference between a reserve currency and a settlement currency. You have the one currency here, XRP, that is ready to do both. And if you guys have an alternative that is ready to do something similar, drop it in the comments down below. I know folks have been trying with Bitcoin. El Salvador program's not working out too well, is it? But God bless you guys. If you want it to be Bitcoin, if you want it to be Ethereum, gold can't be the reserve currency and the settlement currency because it's not liquid, right? We can't operate with just metals, right? We can't operate with just cash. Much of the system has already gone digital, but you need interoperability between the CBDCs that are getting rolled out. You need interoperability between the stable coins that are being used. You need interoperability between all of the different NFTs that are being created, right? As we tokenize everything from memes tokenized on Ledger to real estate tokenized on Ledger, you need that interoperability. Same thing coming here for the bonds and the equities. If you guys know of a better program that's working out, comment on down below. If you think that XRP is ready to handle all the money, comment on down below. Let me know how you guys are feeling. Hope you guys have a blessed Sunday. We will not be doing a Twitter space tonight. Most likely, I'm going to be heading out to hang out with the family for the rest of the day. But I appreciate all of you guys. Much love. And please do me a big favor by smashing that thumbs up on the way out. If you're looking to get in touch with us, just head on over to my website, zachrector.com. With that being said, you can go watch the Sunday session that we just did right here, and you can subscribe by hitting that button right there. Appreciate all of you guys. We'll see you in the next one. God bless.